What's up, slime lovers? My name's Chris. Welcome to El Gato Azul TV. Today we're going to show you guys how we tie our basic dragging rig. So I am pro staffed and team leader at Carolina Lake Weights. I'm also pro staffed over at Mad Cats. We're sponsored anglers for Demon Dragon Rattles, Smackdown Rod Holders. We're field staffed at Multi-Bar Rod Racks, sponsored anglers for Parks Planer Boards, and just want to share with you guys how we tie our dragging rig and go into a little bit about why we do what we do. You just got the junior state record. Proud of you, man. 80. That's my bro. Nice one, buddy. Fish on! Yeehaw, baby! We start our rigs with 80-pound leader line. I'm using Andy 80-pound monofilament leader. You can use whatever you want, but I've just been using Andy for a long time and it works great. We're going to start by cutting off. This is probably a 3.5 foot section. I use a little extra line so that I got room to work with. Today we're going to be using a Carolina Lake Weights 10-aught hook. This is the Action Jackson 10-0 signature series that's just coming out. So what we're going to do is we're going to snell this knot. We're going to snell our 10-0 hook. This hook's good for teeners up to, we catch 80-pounders with these. So this is a good all-around trophy hook size. You can go smaller, you can go bigger. It's all personal preference. This is a good variety of hook, or good hook size for just about most fish. We're going to do a regular traditional snell knot. I wrap mine 10 times. We're going to go back through that loop, bottom loop, cinch it down, give it a little spit, lubricate that knot, bang. From there, I like to use, we're going to use a Carolina Lake Weights. This is a rattle rocket. You can use whatever inline rattle you want. I use an inline rattle close to my hook. And the reason I do this is when I'm dragging, I'm trying to present my bait with a natural presentation. If you don't have a little bit of a float by the hook, this thing's gonna drag down like this. It's just not a natural manner. So we're gonna add man, those hooks are sharp, guys. So we're gonna add the rattle rocket. And the way I'm going to do that is different than the way I did it last year. So what we're going to do is we're crimping this year. We've been doing it about a year now. And what I'm going to do, instead of adding beads in between my inline rattle and my hook, I'm going to add a crimp. So we're using, these are High Seas crimps. Number 1, I believe, for 80-pound mono. You match the crimp to the size. If you don't want to crimp, you can use just spacer beads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that crimp on, and it's probably 2 inches from my hook. I want it fairly close, maybe 1.5 inches. And what that's going to do is that's going to help float up my bait. So I'm gonna crimp that down. It's just as hard as I can with my hands. And then I'm gonna add my inline rattle. So Inline rattle goes next. So you got your hook, you've got a crimp, and you got your inline rattle. Next, I'm going to add another crimp. And what that's going to do is just going to hold that rattle in place so that it doesn't float up by my Demon Dragon. Now you could just use just this rattle, but I use a double rattle, and I like to have that inline rattle help to float my bait for a natural presentation. What I'm going to do is crimp this thing down. Again, it's pretty close to my, just crimp that thing down as hard as you can with your hand. So what I got is my 10-0 hook. I'll trim that tag. My inline rattle. Next gonna go my Demon Dragon. Okay. So what I do, put it through the back eye. I used to tie this, but I'm using a new trick now. I don't put it through this middle eye. I put it through the front eye. And what we're going to do now is I put mine about 4.5, maybe 5 inches from my hook. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a small zip tie to this middle ring. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to now adjust this rig depth. So I'm just going to tighten that down pretty tight, as tight as I can. It's going to be on that bottom ring. You can loop it through, but it will give some memory to your line where you loop it through, and if you do get hung up on something, that's where it's going to break. This alleviates that issue. So you add the zip tie, then you can adjust if you want it to be a little longer, or if you want your bait down here by the bottom on a day where it's high pressure, no wind type day, then you can do that. You can have your bait down by the bottom. This makes it just an adjustable depth rig. From there, I'm going to use I believe this is a #1 or #2 Roscoe swivel, made in the USA. This is the only swivels I use are Roscoe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crimp this one on too. So you add your crimp. For guys that don't crimp, you can use a Palomar knot at this connection. I like crimping. It's clean, it's fast. When you're doing a lot of rigs at once, it's fast, it's clean, it gives it a factory look. So I'm gonna feed that back through there. And it's pretty tight. When I tighten mine down, I'm gonna give it a little bit extra length. So that's about, I'd say that's about, the leader's probably close to 30 inches, maybe a little 24 to 30 inches. Well, if you include the distance here, it's probably a little longer, but you get the gist. It doesn't have to be exact. You vary the depths of them, but that's basically it. I'll crimp this thing down. I'm gonna crimp this thing down tight as I can. These crimps, I haven't had one fail yet in a year, so crimping is awesome. For guys that don't, try it out, man. You'll love it. So this is how we're rolling now. So let's put it on a line. See if I got a line here. I'm gonna put it on my Mad Catz This is a carbine gremlin rod. It's got 30-pound structure cap mono. Let me take this. It's time for us to upsize our rigs. This is an 8.0 rig. I'm taking all these off. Our big fish season is here pretty much starting now. It's almost October. And it's time to go big on our baits. So I switch everything to either my single hook rigs are going to be 10.0 hooks or 12-aughts, either one. And my big bait rigs are going to be they're going to be double hook stinger rigs. So I'll do a different video on that, but for now this is going to be the way we set these up. When I'm dragging, I prefer a sinker slide. The sinker slides that I like to use are going to be these little, this is a lightweight sinker slide. The reason I like these is if you get hung up, a lot of times that little ring right there, that blue part of that ring will break off and you'll get your rig back. But you know, since switching to Carolina lake weights, it's rare we ever get hung up. So what I do is I put the sinker slide on, okay? Sinker slide goes on the main line. From there, I'm going to use a bumper bead, and the bumper bead just helps protect your knot as you're dragging over stuff and it's bumping up against that knot. Helps protect your knot. So from my main line to my rig, I'm going to use a Palomar at this connection. So Palomar knot. Simple, effective knot. Spit on that thing a little bit, tighten it down. Boom. So there's the rig. I'll put a Carolina lake weight on this bad boy. I prefer a 2-ounce Carolina lake weight. These will keep you dragging, not snagging. Saves you a ton of money because you're not losing your rigs. You're not wasting time re-rigging the whole day. But that's basically it, guys. That's our dragging rig, our single hook dragging rig. 10-aught Action Jackson Texas Tornado Signature Series hook. Inline rattle. We also use other inline rattles as well. Sometimes we'll use these. Right now, I'm using these. I like variety, so I'll rig my rigs up a variety of ways. But there's the Demon Dragon. This is the high fin blue Demon Dragon. It's the one I prefer. It looks like a gizzard shad. And then Andy monofilament. Crimped to a Roscoe swivel. Tied to your 30-pound structure cat by Mad Cats. You got a rubber bumper bead, lightweight sinker slide, 2-ounce Carolina lake weight. Put you about a half a hand size or hand size bait on there. Cast that bad boy out, hook you on a Parks planer board, go catch you a record. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you found any of this helpful, subscribe to the channel. If you got any questions, leave me a question in the comment. We do a lot of live streaming. We do how-to stuff. We have a weekly podcast called The Slime Show. So join the family. Appreciate you guys. God bless. Azul out.